Good morning, everyone. Can you hear in the back? Okay, good. Welcome to you all, and especially I see some new faces, new to me anyway, so a special welcome to you. We're happy you've chosen to spend your time here, turning our minds toward what we call reliable refuge. Reliable refuge is really rare in the world. We all take refuge in so many things that then ultimately betray us, don't they? Even I take refuge in my ideas, which turn out just to be my ideas, not something so reliable. Even I defend them against all others. So now we have this time to come together with like-minded people who want to explore how can we end this suffering. What did the Buddha say? By the way, I walked in and saw the Buddha. When did that arrive? This is a prototype of the statue that we're working on bringing here by an artist, I believe, who's Nepalese. Yes. And our dear Sanjay Elliott is leading the charge for that. So if you want to help with that, you can talk to any of us for Sanjay. We will have a fully blessed Buddha statue here at some point. So my name is Zopa. This is Bill. This is Dora. We're three of the associate teachers here at KCC. Our dear Lama Michael Conklin is still having some time off. Yay! After a number of years with no time off. I think he took time off. I've been around here 4 years. He took time off once before. And before that, I don't think not so much. Anyway, we're delighted to be with you. So we'll follow our usual schedule, which is we will do our refuge and bodhicitta prayer. Have you already checked? Does anyone need a copy of the prayer? Some people just came in. Raise your hand if you do, and someone will bring it. Okay, seems like everybody is A-okay. And then I'll do a little bit of guidance with some thoughts from teachers who are far more skilled than myself. And we'll sit together practicing what's called shine, or calm abiding. And I'll say more about the purpose of that and how to do it later. We've got people here who are far more skilled than I am in this calm abiding. And that's great, because as we engage in it together, those folks who've been doing this for literally decades create a container along with our efforts too. And as so many here have said, sitting here together is so much different than sitting alone in our house, where, of course, we do really good effort, but it's just a wonderful support to have the other Sangha members engaged in the very same practice. So we'll do calm abiding till about, I don't know, I guess we go till 9:50 or so. Melinda will ring the bell for us to let us know when to stop. We'll have some announcements, and then we'll have tea together downstairs. And then if you can stay, it's a quite lovely thing that we come back for about 45 minutes of Dharma discussion, and we learn from one another. And there are no, there are only excellent questions. Whatever question you bring is excellent. We learn from every question. Okay. I think that's what I wanted to say before we do our chant, which sets a bookend for us about why are we doing this. So as we do our prayer together, our chant, see if you can, if you don't know it, you may want to just listen the first time. You certainly can join right in, but really fasten our minds to the meaning of these words, which are never the same. The meaning and the words, always different, always fresh. Okay.
Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness.
This week, in my practice on and off the cushion, I've been pondering the difference between how I perceive things and how the teachings say they actually don't exist in the way that I perceive them. It's been a very kind of fun pondering, seeing that gap. Even just conceptually. In this moment, I come into this beautiful hall, this beautiful offering that we've put together as a community. And maybe like me, you too say, this seems so familiar. I've been here so many times before. But according to the teachings, we've never been here before. This moment, which is already gone, and now the next one, and the next one. We've never been in it before, and will never be in it again. In one of the favorite prayers of this Mahamudra lineage, it's taught that every moment is new, fresh, unique. I don't experience that most of the time. It seems that fresh newness passes without us noticing. Why? That why leads us to look at the very first teachings of the Buddha. Suffering is. It seems because of afflictions, emotional, because of obscurations, which are simply habit patterns very strong from beginningless lives. We're blocked from understanding that every single thing is sacred, is precious. Not just some things. There's no dualism about this. The clothes you're wearing, the sidewalk you walked on, the air, the sound waves of this voice. Everything is precious that way, sacred. Getting a drink of water from a tap, so sacred. The deep interdependence of it. How does the cup come into your hand? How is it you have a hand? We can contemplate any one item. That water coming from the faucet. The eye didn't create it. Even we take one moment to trace the interdependence of how that water arises there in that moment, how quickly it shifts and disappears. Where does it come from? Where does it go? But generally, I'm just in a hurry and have a drink and move on. If I'm lucky, I remember to be grateful, which could be enough too, a good practice. And sometimes I remember to be grateful and then to wish that every being everywhere could in this moment have what they need. No difference than me, just like me. Just like me, every being wishes to be happy, to be free of suffering, to have joy. This comes from seeing, in a way, our interconnectedness with no exaggeration, with no diminishing. I thought I might read 2 verses from a favorite prayer from when I was at Travasti Abbey. These are verses by the 7th Dalai Lama, His Holiness Kelsang Gyatso. In unending samsara, this prison of suffering, wander the sentient beings of the 6 realms, bereft of happiness. They are your parents. Who reared you with affectionate kindness. Meditate on compassion and affection by relinquishing attachment and aversion. Don't let your mind go astray. Place it within compassion. Through not losing mindfulness, hold it within compassion. Then the Dalai Lama, the 7th, moves on to what Khenpo Lodro Donyo was emphasizing, Tamil Shepa, the ordinary mind. The mind of totally understanding, experiencing appearance and emptiness. So back to the Dalai Lama's prayer. At the crossroads of the 6 collections of consciousness, so that's like our 5 sense consciousness and mental consciousness, which have diverse perceptions, at the crossroads of these are seen the hazy, dualistic phenomena, which are baseless. This is a magical show, which is by nature deceptive. Don't believe it to be true, but view it as having the nature of emptiness. Don't let your mind go astray. Place it in the nature of appearance emptiness. Through not losing mindfulness, hold it in the nature of appearance emptiness. So let's check in with our bodies. Appearance emptiness. Relax. Sometimes taking a relaxing breath helps, a letting go breath. See if the body can stop trying. Stop trying to do something other than being, just being what it is right now, and now, and now. Noticing sensations and noticing how they change constantly, unless the mind grips on and makes a big story. Yet even that story will change. There's nothing that will not change. So in our calm abiding, we allow that change. That's all. Just simple. Notice the changes, and allow them. Notice when we start blocking, grasping, running away from. Just notice. In that noticing, it's already changing. So nothing to do in calm abiding. Literally nothing to do. We don't try to meditate. That will get in the way. And please don't try not to meditate. That will get in the way. All we're doing is resting in the ordinary mind, the mind with no exaggeration of the positive, which causes grasping, and no exaggeration of the so-called negative, which causes aversion. All of that causes the drama. But there's no need for the drama, although it will arise. And then it abides, but we can't find the abiding, and then it disappears. Where does it go? Can't find that either. So now just allow for this with some very short stretch breaks. Please just relax the body, relax the mind, relax the emotions, relax the stories, and just enjoy this time, each shining moment. check in with your mind gently, with no judgment, and bring it to the breath or whatever you've been using as an anchor, gently. And then if you need a stretch, please have one. When we follow the breath, if that's your object of meditation, and it doesn't have to be, there are many. Come in as close as you can to it, to the experience of the breath. The in-breath, not one solid thing. Some kind of turning toward what's called the out-breath. Not one solid thing either. Following the out-breath out, just notice what happens. And then what happens? And then. And always thoughts and stories, sensations will arise and pull the attention. And we have a moment of choice there to follow the thought, the distraction, the story, the sensation, or to just refocus on the breath. This breath, that will never come again. That is like the first breath you ever took in this life, and the last one you will ever take in this life. That's how precious the breath is. That way, not so hard to focus on it. So precious. Now, once again, check in with the mind gently, no judgment. Bring it to the object. As Lama Michael said, we need to have success at this. If it was wandering, fine, that happens, no problem. But see that you can bring it back and place it where you want, on the breath, on the Buddha. And then stretch if you need. Look around, refresh, relax. Check in if any part of the body has gotten tight, rigid, or if any has gotten too loose, too sleepy. Find the middle. And then no place left to come back to except the ordinary mind, the foundational ordinary mind, always present.
this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in this state.
Thank you so much. That went so fast. At least in my head. So we will have tea now downstairs. There's usually tea and snacks. It's a help yourself, and then rinse your cup and put it in the little thing that will get sanitized. But of course we must torture you with some announcements. It's required whenever people are together. Hopefully not too many. The first one is, this is Cleaning Sunday. Willa, will you raise your hand so people can see Willa there? She'll help organize us, but in the back of the room under that cork board there's a chore board. And you, if you can stay for 15 or 20 minutes and help us beautify our space, we do this once a month. And if you can't stay, at least if you can pick up your zabuton and zafu and shake them outside either of the doors, and or brush off your chair. And but if you can stay and take a task, it's a lovely thing to do together. And you'll find the task back there, and Willa will show you how it works.
That's after discussion.
Oh, yes, that's not now. That's after discussion, so if you can stay for that. And then, oh yeah, this Thursday evening we have our usual second and fourth Thursday in each month, the mind training discussion group. And we're doing some wonderful texts in the mind training tradition with myself and Tim Campbell leading. And it's a wonderful group. So if you've never come and you want to come Thursday at 7th grade, if you've been coming forever, come back. That's all I can think of right now, but I'm sure there is more.
And on Tuesday, there is the Tara practice.
Is that this Tuesday?
That's this Tuesday, right?
Cool.
Yeah. I see enough nodding. Nobody's shaking their head, so
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
going with it. So that's at 7 p.m. And I think if Lama Michael's plans hold together, that he plans to come to that session too. So that'll be, what's that? Not leading it, but he'll be there. This Saturday, I think people, those who know, just a reminder that the Exploring the Path of Mahamudra session will be on Saturday from 9:30 to noon, and then again for about an hour or so after lunch, exploring the mandala practice as part of the foundational practices. And if you have questions about that, you can ask me. I'll be there. And Solidra.
Yes, I just want to say that we have at least 40 people here today.
Yay.
Break so that you can speak from them. So I'm going to say your name. If you just raise your hand so we know who you are. Jeanette,
Hello, welcome.
Erica,
Welcome.
Salisi,
Welcome.
and Laura.
Hello.
Is there anyone else that I missed?
Say, my sister Rita is here.
Oh, yeah, welcome back.
She's
Welcome
been
back.
over at Monroe Street, but not here.
Yeah, been a while.
And might as well remind that the retreats, the 3 fall retreats are coming up in September, are the 2 with Lama Eric, and the there's notices on the bulletin board. And I think registration will open pretty soon, but
Can we get a show of hands of who expects to attend?
Which ones?
Either one.
Either one,
How about the first one?
which is the shamatha, right?
Yeah.
7
And
days.
how about the Chenrezig? Okay, thank you.
anyway, there'll be an announcement on our listserv when registration opens, and so just be watching for that. And if you're not on our listserv, you should get on it, because that's how you find out about these things, and it's quite possible these would fill up. So good to register when you see the announcement.
And all the info's on the internet, so on the KCC page. So, okay, any other announcements? Good, short. All right, tea time.